Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel on Untitled. Before we get going, if you wouldn't mind, hit like, hit subscribe on the video if you like it. By the end of it, it really helps us out. Also,
go down, touch the buttons.
Yeah, go touch some buttons.
Go keep the buttons going.
Be aware we've also got a Patreon link is down below. Check out our Patreon video on our channel to get more details about that. Let's talk about some Brawl in Eldraine, Jake.
Yeah, Brawl is right around the corner. It's going to be on MTG Arena. It's going to be supported in paper. I'm sure everybody knows that it was hard to get their hands on Brawl decks this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we've done is go through and we've picked 6 Brawl commanders from Eldraine that we really like. Now, I guess the caveat to these, Jake, is that, like, Oko's not on this list. We'll put it that way, you know?
Yeah, sure. We picked a couple commanders that are going to be, like, budget, monocolor commanders, and then we also picked, some other fun stuff. Some stuff that you would expect to be on the list.
Right, yeah, exactly. So let's jump right into it. First up is Grumgully the Generous for me. Each other non-human creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Now, they worded additional so that it will add one to a creature that would not receive one, but also still adds one to any creature that comes in and would add a +1/+1 counter to itself.
Yeah, I mean, this card screams aggro to me, and if you're running like some green-red beats, I can't imagine that you could find a better, low-cost commander to facilitate those needs.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of creatures in the format, when +1/+1 counters are placed on them, do something. The Growth Chamber Guardian, as soon as you play that, if Grumgully's already on the battlefield, you can go search. That's a horrible example because it's Brawl, but you get my point. When things happen, when they are placed on them, things happen, and this counts as being placed on. It counts for the effect.
Yeah, and not to mention cards like Rhythm of the Wild, which are just insane already, and then also, proliferate effects. So I think, this commander could really get out of hand in the right
Absolutely.
shot.
And it's an uncommon, so in paper it's going to be budget. In Arena, it's kind of budget too, because uncommon wild cards are much more common, I guess, than rare or mythic wild cards. So Grumgully is our first one. Jake, you've got our next one coming up.
All right. Next card on the list is Sir Comrade De Grimm.
Oh, yeah.
This is for the mono black player, get Conrad out and then honestly just activate the ability until you win the game.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe some mana rocks so that you can activate it a lot of times with your black mana alongside it. Sweepers of whatever kind, you can find them mono black. Obviously, removal, you're already going to want that.
Vengeance, Ritual of Soot.
Yeah, exactly.
There's definitely some good sweepers, but then also cards like Sanitarium Skeleton, cards like Gutter Bones, cards like Gravedigger.
Yeah, exactly.
These cards that are going to go to the yard, well, not Gravedigger, but Gutter Bones, Sanitarium Skeleton, these cards are going to go to the yard, and then you're going to be able to get them out once you've milled them. So if you build the deck correctly, you should be able to net a little bit of value out of what goes in your graveyard, let alone being able to just drain them to their face and hopefully win the game if they're playing enough creatures.
Right, yeah, you could definitely have a sacrifice sub-theme.
Yeah, dude, this card is super fun. I've played it in limited. I think the card is honestly it's a beast of a card. If it goes unanswered, it will win. So I think the mana cost of it is high, but it's appropriately costed because it's just such a insane card. It's so strong.
Moving to my next pick, a card that actually would go in a Sir Conrad deck is Ayara First of Lochthwain. Now, this one obviously is another mono black. This facilitates a sacrifice strategy, but what I like the most about it is that it's a life swing engine and it's a card draw engine. Anytime anything's about to die, sack it. Anytime that you just need to dig for that answer, removal, board wipe, whatever you're looking for, tap, sacrifice a black creature, and draw a card. I think she's hugely powerful, and at 3 mana in a mono black deck, you're going to love playing this card.
Joel, the one way that I evaluate cards is is it a pain in the ass when I see them.
Right.
And this card is no exception. Whenever
Absolutely.
I play against
Absolutely.
it, I'm like, okay, we have to answer this because this is absolutely a beastly card. And again, I know we were just talking about it, but cards like Sanitarium Skeleton and Gutterbones are going to play great along this card. You know, you're sacrificing them; they're losing, you know, life when they enter, so you're able to. It's doing all of the things,
and it stays as a card engine if it goes unanswered. So if you play some kind of discard sub-theme, Davriel sub-theme in your deck, you're taking their resources away and maintaining your own resources. You're just going to outpace them, you know. And the removal is there.
Dude.
You know, you're probably weak to things like enchantments, artifacts. You don't have a ton of answers to those in black.
And that's what mono black is. You know?
Sure, of course. Yeah, you just want to drain their life. You want to play, you know, the Ravens card that deals damage when they attack. You want to play Ill-Gotten Inheritance and really stack these effects of drain life, drain life, drain life as much as possible.
Yeah, now that I'm looking more at this choice, I really do think I'll probably throw it together myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, you play it as kind of a vampire, drain their life to grow your life total deck, and you do have the life gain strategy that you can play off of with the vampire, black, one other flying thing that gets a +1/+1 counter every time you gain life. You know, the guy from C20 that does damage every time you gain life. You know, things like that. There are sub-themes here too. She's not just a card draw engine.
Oh, when you get this card out with like Cauldron Familiar and I mean, you're draining for 2 every time that thing re-enters the battlefield. Like, oh, dude, it sounds just so gross.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So that's my. We've hit the mono black stuff. Now why don't we move to the white creature that you have chosen, which I think is a little going to be left field for people. Linden the Steadfast Queen.
Well, you know, it's a 3/3 with vigilance for 3.
Yep.
3 white.
Your rate is already pretty good.
Whenever a white creature you control attacks, you gain 1 life. So cards that immediately come to mind are Dawn of Hope.
Yeah.
The enchantment that everybody knows that's going to make it into any Brawl deck that has white, because it makes, you know, life linkers, and then you draw cards when you gain life.
Right.
But then also cards that are a little bit more on the nose. A Johnny's Pride Mate and a Johnny's Strength of the Pride, which is going to make a Johnny's Pride Mates are going to fit perfectly in here.
Right.
So just on the attack, you're gaining life, and each creature is going to have its own instance of that life gain. So a Johnny's Pride Mate is going to gain counters based on the number of creatures that you have swinging. So in the right shell, this is going to get out of hand really quick. And I think as far as like a mono white aggro goes, there's a lot of value here to be tapped into.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to have Unbreakable Formation. You're going to have Venerated Loxodon to put counters on everything. You know, it's going to run the mono-white strategy. Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know?
A deck like this is going to run the risk of running out of steam because white tends to do that sometimes. You'll need to play some creatures with some bigger butts and Vigi and, you know, this kind of thing to block and hopefully hold the line while you punch through with whatever you can get to resolve.
Yeah, I would say, you know, a card that would run in a strategy like that would be something like Manifold Key, which is going to give something unblockable. Because I imagine in the beginning of the game, you're going to be getting a lot of your damage through.
Right.
And so you will need a way to punch through at the end. And giving something unblockable is going to be really good. And so artifacts in a deck like this, any enchantment that's going to give you, you know, a cool effect or a way to draw cards.
Yeah, I think enchantments
really
are going to be huge because you can play things like anytime a creature token enters the battlefield, it's a 4/4 angel instead. Or you can play anytime a creature attacks alone, it gets +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Like, that's exactly the kind of finishing effect that this kind of deck wants.
Oh yeah, exactly. And so I know the card looks a little bit, you know, modest on the surface, but I think it does what you want. It's vigilant, so if you get a nice equipment on this or something, you know, you're going to be able to swing with it and block with it, and then, you know, give it stave off effects. You know, if it does get killed, you're going to bring it back at, you know, 5 and then 7 and then 9. It's going to come back and back and back.
Absolutely. So we've talked about creatures so far, 2 uncommon, 2 rare. What I want to do now is move to a mythic planeswalker and just completely change gears. This is Garrick, Cursed Huntsman. He's my next pick. He is at the top end of a curve for a commander. Honestly, you're only going to play Garrick in a game probably twice max, maybe a third time, because you've got access to green and you can ramp. And that's another good point. With all the mana dorks at 2 mana that are in this format, you could possibly ramp up to Garrick. Now, Garrick in particular, I like because he does a lot of things that I like planeswalkers to do, which is he enters the battlefield and immediately protects himself. And he's got 2 ways to do it. He can straight up destroy a creature and give you a card, or he can create 2 ground blockers for himself that make him stronger and get you closer to an emblem with 3/3 and trample as quickly as you possibly can.
That zero cost effect, I am just in love with that effect.
Exactly.
It's one thing to bring 1 blocker, but to bring 2, it's just, it gets out of hand really quick. So, I mean, that's the effect on the card that really sticks out to me. I love the -3 being able to destroy a creature and draw a card, but being able to make a relentless amount of wolves, that's what's going to win the game. It's
exactly.
So
this one is probably my most excited, my most hyped I am to build a Brawl deck around, because black and green are very stereotypically hugely strong in singleton formats because of recursion. Exactly. You've got recursion, you've got removal, you get to play Assassin's Trophy, you get to play Casualties of War, you get to play things like Witch's Vengeance in black, and you get to ramp with green and play big stompy trample creatures that can finish the game out for you in green. And so it does everything, plus with the Golgari Swarm kind of play style, the things keep coming back. Nothing's ever dead. You get Golgari Binebroker to pick stuff back up. You also get access to the Liliana's finisher that you can put any number of planeswalkers and creatures from graveyards onto the battlefield, and you lose life. That card, right? There's so much good shenanigans for game types like Brawl or Commander, and Garrick's in the colors. He is legal in the format. He won't rotate for a long time because he just came out in Eldraine, so he's got some rotation protection. It's just this one's a home run for me in this kind of format. The only thing,
if you did pre-order, then you have the cool card frame that you see right here in the video.
Exactly.
So why don't you show it off as your commander?
That's exactly what I'm saying. The only real downside to Garrick is that he is 6 cost and not 4 or 5, but he does come in with 5 loyalty, and he only needs 6, -6, and you get an emblem that gives all your stuff overrun for the rest of the game. Moving off of the one that I'm probably most excited about to one that you may have seen and you might not expect to be on our list because it is associated directly with Brawl, is Elahh, Artful Provocateur. We saw her during the Brawl event.
Yeah, dude, I'm so stoked on this card. I think it's pretty obvious that this card is good, but as far as if you're looking for a commander that's going to be really annoying and you're going to be able to build a nice control deck around it, I think look no further than this card. You're going to get all your time wipe effects, your Caius Wrath effects, your giant that blows up all 9 giant creatures and then comes back.
When you get access to some of the best planeswalkers in the format right now, with Narset, with Teferi, with some of the Black Walkers, like with Davriel, if you want to go after some
Liliana,
hand manipulation. Right, exactly. You get access to those cards, like we talked about. You get access to some of the black cards with Garrick. Also, with this one, you get access to some protection as well. This is a deck that lends itself to, you wait until you have 6 mana, you play Elahh when you have a negate in hand, and you're ready to stop that first way that they try and remove her, because one of the dangers of a deck like this is that it does seem like an engine-y build-around deck. You need artifacts and enchantments in your deck to trigger her bottom ability. You need flying creatures in your deck as the majority of your attackers to take advantage of her middle ability. And so if they can remove Elahh from the battlefield, you might lose a little bit of potency with a deck like that, and it's a danger you run. However, the colors are so strong that this is a card too that you might want to play your general just once when you're really set up. Maybe you've already got a bunch of flyers on the battlefield.
No, and dude, I think this is the kind of deck that's gonna be, it's gonna run some big splashy creatures like your Agent of Treachery or whatever steals target permanent. But I think for the most part, this is gonna be, a control commander where, you're running, artifacts and enchantments, you know, like Glass Casket and Prison Realm. And these are going to be the kind of cards that you're creating fairies off of, but then also removing their stuff. So there's a lot going on here, and I think I think the card is just really good, and we should prepare in the future to see it a lot at the top of some really annoying decks.
The one time a week we get to play Brawl, if that's still a thing by the time you're watching this video.
Yeah, the one time a week that we get to play Brawl.
Yeah, I must say it's gotta feel pretty good to play Prison Realm, remove a creature, scry 1, create a 2/1 flyer, say go. That's got to be pretty cool. You know what I'm saying?
All for 3 mana.
Right. So. Yeah, exactly. Everybody, thank you so much. Let us know down below. We want to know what Brawl decks you're going to be playing. And if we like a deck list that you link down below, we might just do a deck tech of it on the channel and play some games against you so that we can record some gameplay footage. Other than that, those are our picks for Eldraine, Brawl, Commanders. Jake, I'm tapped out.
And I am just sitting here trying to clean my desk.
Oh, excellent. The perpetual quest to clean the desk.
Cleaning my desk. Cleaning my desk.